Hey guys, it's Shay. Here's part 4. I don't want to keep talking video after video after video about situations, but my whole point for these is this particular grouping of videos is to point out to the masses or to whoever knows how to fix or help the situations, is that I'm trying to shed a light on one situation that a disabled woman has gone through, or not even just one, but a few that are things that can be helped. They are things that can be improved upon, and we as a group and as a community need to start fighting back. Now, we try, I've seen people fight back, that's how we got the things that we have now. But I'm not calling our generation lazy, but we've almost gotten so used to just sitting back and hoping that somebody else will stand up and fight to help us. But the problem is, if all of us are standing by and waiting for that to happen, who is really doing anything? We're not. Silence is sometimes the best killer of movements and of life and of relationships and of multiple things, is silence. Not speaking up, not putting a voice to what is bothering you, to what is causing problems, to what can be fixed. And that's the point of these videos, is I've tried, calling certain places. I've tried getting the help I needed. Like, even just trying to get, this is only one small instance, even just trying to get legal aid, to fight my WSIB thing, to be able to afford the lawyer that I had to get to be at my tribunal for my WSIB case for my Kienbocks and my work. So just for me to be able to get to win my case, I had to look for ways to pay for a lawyer. And I called legal aid in Toronto, which is where I was supposed to be able to get help. Do you know what I was told? I was told that I was not entitled to legal aid because I was not an immigrant and I was not a convict. Now, I have nothing against giving people that are new to the country or giving people who have been convicted access to free legal care. I think that's great. But the initial reason for legal care or legal aid was to, and I'm paraphrasing here, was to give legal aid to people who were not financially able to afford it. So that is homeless, people who have very little income. For example, I am on government assistance. How am I supposed to afford a lawyer when right up front, it's usually, the minimum is usually like $3,000 to $7,000 is like a minimum. And that's like up front. It's $500 just to speak to one most times, sometimes even more than that. So how am I supposed to afford a lawyer when I can barely pay for my bills each month and barely pay for food and rent? That's just not possible. So something that's meant to help us, especially people who are disabled, because most people that are disabled are on a government income, are on a social assistance because they cannot work. So there's no other way to be able to survive each month, so they need the legal help. They need financial help each month. So why is it that we can't get legal help? That's the simplest of things, right? So we need to speak up as a community, or even just as friends and family of people in this disabled community, to find better ways to help us. We as human beings are greatly failing when it comes to helping other human beings. Look how many rallies we've had for different reasons, for the races and religions and genders and the LGBTQ community, how many rallies you've had for them, but where's the rallies for the disabled? Where's the rallies to be like, subways need to have elevators and ramps when the majority of them don't? There's a few, you get lucky when you get to some of them, and there's an elevator or a ramp or whatever. You think you hit the jackpot, but then you get to the next one, and you're thinking, oh shit, how do I get up the stairs? How do I get to my appointment? How do I do anything? I'm basically stuck in this place because I can't get up the stairs. Like, that's a problem. And you've seen construction at some places, this is downtown Toronto, and you've seen places that have actually started building them, but to be honest, they should have been in there long before now. We've had disabled seats on subways for how long? We've had a designated area for them, yet we don't even have a way for them to get to that seat. Ramps should be everywhere. And you know what? And it's true, the majority of the people who are recognized as disabled are people with injuries from the waist down, so wheelchair, walker, crutches, canes. Those are the most recognized disabilities because they're usually the ones that have a harder time accessing places and transit and those kinds of things. So I get it. But now that we've put in place a lot of ways to help them, now it's time to move on to the people that don't have that problem. Now it's time to move on to assistance to help people who have issues with their waist up. People who have issues with their brain. We started coming out with programs that help them. Great. What about people with arms? And I'm not just talking because I have an issue, but I've noticed an increase in people who have carpal tunnel, tendonitis, and now Kienbocks disease. I've noticed a major increase, and it's because we are not taking the steps in the workplaces to make sure that we don't have these injuries. I think every workplace, regardless of whether it's a cashier or construction site or office, we should have ways of making it ergonomically safe for them. If you're doing a jackhammer on a construction site, maybe you should be able to only do it for so long and then have another person do it. Alternate people who are using it so that one person is not consistently having that motion on their hands. Making a lot more breaks for people. Making a workstation ergonomically correct. Proper chairs, proper mouse. Every office should have the ability to have a special mouse for someone who maybe is suffering with carpal tunnel. A mouse that is sideways. There's a ball here to move the cursor, and the buttons are here, and it makes it easier to rest their hand that way. Simple fixes, but we don't have them. Now, I've wanted to kind of start this movement. Yes, it has some selfish reasons, and I will be honest about that. I am selfishly trying to start a movement because of what I am suffering with and the lack of help that I have. But it's also I'm selfish because I have people in my life, family and friends, who are also suffering with other issues and are coming up with roadblocks to get the help they need. So we, as I've mentioned multiple times, I desperately need your help. I need you guys to spread the word. I need you guys to start questioning things. And sometimes don't question things. And when I say that, I bring up the topic about assuming someone is not disabled because they physically don't look it. And the reason why I don't look disabled a lot of times is because I try to take the time to look nice when I go out. I don't like looking like a slob. It makes me feel awful when I look like a slob in my sweatpants and my hair is all mess. So I tried to put out the effort to look nice because it makes me feel better. But I come across the risk of people not assuming that I am perfectly healthy. So that's what I wanted to do with this set of videos, is start a movement, start people questioning, get people to start speaking up and looking at things differently, looking at things from a different perspective, and to help people who are suffering with what we're suffering with, and people who are suffering with similar things. We need to make it, socially acceptable to have this conversation and to help one another and to speak up and to start a rally and a movement. So I'm going to end this segment of videos like this. I have another video I want to do in the next one. It's a little happier. So thank you so much for listening. I really love you guys, and I really hope that you guys are enjoying this and you are looking forward to my next video. Bye.